Hey family, it's Tasha Mama Bear Prepping. So we're about to get into it. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. You already know what time it is, baby. Get your drink, pull up. Let's talk about it. So we are going to discuss preparing for when times get really, really bad here shortly when there's no food. And when crime starts to rise more than it is right now. And the crimes are going to be changing, you guys. It's not going to be people trying to come in and steal your jewelry or try to find cash and steal that. I mean, yeah, maybe they take that too so they can pawn it to get food. But, you know, the times are going to change where families are desperate to get food, okay? And if you are a soft target, if you are not ready for that, and you are not home and they're able to just come in and clean your food out, imagine how you would feel you come home to an empty pantry. You think, oh my goodness, you know, the house got broken into, and how crazy you would feel that, like, oh, let me start looking, what TVs did they take? What jewelry did they find, the defensive tool? Like, what did they get, right? And to find out it's all the food. It's the pantry has been cleaned out, or your garage has been cleaned out that had shelves of, you know, nicely packaged food that you got from Costco or somewhere, right? That's what I'm talking about. That anguish that you would feel from missing that and getting taken advantage of. The way you do that is not being a soft target, not letting people see what's going on. And you do that by starting now. There's stuff to do now so that when it gets bad, you're not an easy target to be taken care of. There's things to pay attention to with your surroundings now so that you are not taken advantage of, okay? And you do not become, you know, a victim of a crime. Okay, so here's my ways to prepare. This is literally stuff that we've done for our home that I encourage you to think about and employ and get done in your home so that you're ready to go and not trying to do stuff last minute. Number one is... Oh, I don't have a marker. Okay, number one is reinforce all your entry points. I know I'm making so much noise, you guys. Reinforce all entry points. That's your doors, that's your windows. That's very, very simple. That's you taking a look one by one, each door, and figuring out what it is that you can do to make that entry point stronger. Maybe that's a new door. Maybe that's longer screws. Maybe that's an extra deadbolt. Maybe that's a security door added, right? The screen door, the security door kind though. Maybe that's just extra locks that you can buy and do. Night lock on the bottom half, maybe a bull lock on the top. Preparing it even, you know, further with the zombie bar stuff. I don't know, but whatever it is that you can do to make that door stronger, basically stronger from being kicked in, from being jimmied, opened, that type of thing, okay? Same thing for windows. You've got to have your extra bars or sticks, other things in the window that makes it harder to jimmy it open, right? You know, something as simple as just having all the screens on the windows, having the actual windows that are not broken and are strong and ready to go, and then having security bars, security locks, maybe even little window alarms on them so you know when somebody's cracked them open. Not leaving them open. I know that there's certain places of the country or certain time frames of the year that it gets hot and folks want to leave windows open. My nephew is the worst at it. At nighttime, he wants to crack his window. I'm like, you cannot do that, okay? Get you a fan, something, okay? Turn on something, because windows open, that is a soft target, okay? And that's what I'm talking about. People will be looking for opportunities like that, okay? Maybe not in the middle of the night when they know people are in there sleeping to get something like food, but when you're not home and that window doesn't get shut, okay, and now it's open and they can just easily have access to the house, that's a problem, okay? So reinforce your entry points, doors, windows. That's the door also to the garage, or any kind of other doors, you know, shed doors, whatever, okay? So all doors. Next thing I have is reinforce all gates. So any kind of gate, first of all, if you don't have fencing, get fencing. If you don't have a gate and you're able to put a gate up in a section, whatever, put that up. Anything that stops somebody or makes it more difficult or an extra step for them to do. Okay, now can fences and gates be hopped? Can they get over them? Of course they can, you guys. But a lot of people, if something is locked or it's 6 feet and it's just too much, they're not trying to do all that. They're not trying to hop fences and do all that extra work that it would take to get in, right? Once it's locked, they're like, okay, I'm turning around. Now, is it going to deter everybody? No, absolutely not. You know, if somebody's determined, they know that something's in there, they know they can gain entry, and they know it's an easy mark and it's worth it, then who knows what they'll do, okay? But get gates, and if you have gates, locks. Have your normal, you know how like you walk through a gate to get to the backyard and there's always an easy way to open it. There's always a stringed up hole, or you can easily see where the lock is to unlock it so that you can get in, whether that lock's on the inside, outside, the latch, whatever, right? But having an extra lock that's on it towards the bottom that somebody cannot just reach through and unlock, okay? They can't just reach over and unlock it. That it's more difficult for them to open that gate. Even a couple, maybe one halfway up and one at the bottom, whatever, okay? Make it difficult though, because that could be the, you know, hey, it's taking too much time for them to try to figure out the lock, and then they're gone because they're nervous about somebody seeing them and calling the police or whatever, okay? So don't make it easy. Locks on all the gates. All the gates, I don't care what kind of gate it is, get creative and get those locks on different stuff, okay? Next thing I have is reinforce all your sheds and your garage. So again, there's ways to reinforce your garage door. We have an old school garage door, but we have it reinforced like crazy. Extra locks. There's no way anybody could even figure out how it opens, right? It's not your traditional raise up garage, but a lot of those garages are very easy to get into, okay, with a few tools or whatever. Gotta have the extra locks on those doors. Don't be not locking the door that goes to the garage. A lot of times people get in that way because the garage is easy to get into, whether it's the actual garage door or a window's not locked because people aren't thinking about it. It's just the garage. And then they just walk in through the regular door. Okay. That's, you know, or it's easy to kick that door in because it is not a door that you concentrated on in regards to extra locks and extra reinforcement. So make sure you're reinforcing that door that goes to your garage too, in case they can come in that way and surprise, they're not able to just easily kick in that door. You know, they're thinking, oh, that's an external door, that's easier, but it ends up not being, okay? Again, spending too much time trying to figure it out, and they'll give up. Or hopefully give up, okay? The point is to deter as many as you can, okay? What else? Okay. Bring all food in concealed. So we've already talked about this several times on this channel on concealing your food. You should be doing that now. You should not be getting big orders from Walmart, you know, delivered right to your door where all the neighbors can see all these bags of food and cases of water. I get it. That's so easy to do. We've done that in the past. Okay. So I'm not saying don't do that. Okay. And we still do it from time to time, but that stuff needs to stop. Okay. I just had a discussion with my sister the other day, like, we can't be doing this, right? Because she's a huge fan of that, okay? I'm a huge fan of people not seeing what's going on, okay? So that, and just coming in, pulling up in your vehicle front door, and it takes you, you know, 30 minutes to offload all the food, and everybody in your family comes out, so you know, everybody and their mother can see it's a big haul. Or if anybody followed you home and they could clearly see, wow, there's a big haul, they're bringing it in. Whatever, okay? Stop letting people see. If you have a garage, pull into it, then offload if you can. If you're able to pull around through a gate or around the house or something, you have another way of concealing, do that. If it's concealing it in laundry baskets or whatever, just my point is, stop letting people see these big hauls of food, okay? Start buying smaller trips, right? Go more often and get smaller things. Don't if you're able to, be letting people see these huge carts of food when you're shopping, and then somebody is just casing you and watching you and being like, whoa, that's a lot of food, you know, and then they can follow you and follow you home, so that later they know, okay, this person buys a lot of food, and they can follow you home, and then start casing that house to see how often you're home, how often do you leave. They can start casing like, hey, does it look like they leave windows open? Does it look like they have gates or not gates, no fencing, whatever. I can clearly see in the garage, they have food, whatever it is, right? It's easy to do. And so that's why it's time now to be pulling back from what you are letting people see, because it's going to get bad and it's going to be really sad. And now's the time to prepare while you can, where things are still kind of normal and it's not so bad. And you and your family get into the habit of doing things in a different way. Next thing I have is install cameras and CCTVs. Hey, something as simple, even fake ones, this stuff does deter people. People do not want to get caught on camera. Yes, can somebody come up and spray paint it or cut a wire or whatever? I mean, yes, but that, again, that's a lot of work to do, okay? And if there's several of them, that's a lot. You're doing a lot. Like this isn't CIA people coming in to steal food. Okay. This is your average thief, average people trying to, you know, get extra food. And they're going to be trying to get in and get out. And are you an easy target? And a lot of times just seeing a camera will deter. Now I get it. There's a lot of people who don't care. You still have people who will walk right up when you have a camera, you have a motion light, you have all this stuff, and they still will walk right up and check all the car doors to see if they're open. They just do not care. Or they'll walk right up to your front door and steal packages, and they know there's a camera right there that got them on camera. So people don't care. But it's one thing to just walk up and do something that takes 2 seconds, right? And know you're on camera, then really hanging around, really taking the time to break through locks to get in somewhere, and you have, that's a lot, okay? Not to mention that if those are set up to any kind of security, the minute they break in, if you're not home, alarms going off, that type of thing, okay? It's totally different than quietly, because yes, it's going, the camera is recording or the lights are on, but everybody's asleep and nobody knows this person is still checking those doors, or people are at work. You could be there all day, get your notification talking about somebody's on your porch. It don't matter, baby, you're not there. And then they're gone, okay? They're gone within 2 seconds with your package, okay? We all know how this works, okay? Next thing I have is installing solar motion lights. I like this idea because of grid down. I like them because they're very easy. You install them, they're solar, so you're not having to put any kind of batteries or connect them to any kind of power. They're solar ran and they're not on. You can set the times of when you want them to be, I guess, active, if you will. And that's good. You know, they don't work. They don't come on until somebody, you know, comes in view. Okay. But I like them because you can pop them up anywhere, all around your house, all around sheds, garages, on a fence line, wherever. There's a lot of places that you can put this stuff. Having lots of lighting on your path, right? Those solar lights that light paths, having those all throughout your front yard and your garden and flowers and in the backyard and stuff. Having stuff lit up like that, even, and it's solar, is awesome for you because it's not powered, and it's awesome because now your property is lit up. And again, people don't want to be seen. Okay. If you have a big old dark property though, where anybody knows, oh, I could just be back there doing what I want. Nobody's going to see me. No neighbors are going to see me. You know, no cameras are going to see me, you know, unless they have, you know, some kind of nighttime vision. That's ideal. And so that's what I mean by being a soft target and people realizing they can get away with something because you haven't prepared properly. Next thing I have is watch your surroundings. So this is where I alluded to, like the grocery store, right? You're shopping. Pay attention to people that are paying attention to you, right? Pay attention. You're walking to your car. Is there anything under your tires? As you're loading, is there anybody that looks like they're watching you load your groceries? Is there anybody that looks like they're following you home? Is there any cars in the neighborhood when you pulled up to your house and hopefully you pulled around the back or pulled into a garage? You know, so, you know, if you don't see them and they're tailing far, then maybe they don't see where you go. Or maybe you do see somebody, so you keep rolling and you don't roll into your house, right? pay attention to what's going on, because a lot of that type of stuff is happening, okay? A lot of people are getting followed home or getting marked. You have people who just drive and try to find houses and mark them in a way. They'll do some chalk on the, a chalk or a sticker or something on your mailbox, and all they did was just drive around and case. They didn't follow you home from anywhere, but they just cased stuff that they could see, right? This person's garage is open all the time. This person leaves with their garage open. This person has a ton of food in their garage. I can clearly see all these cases of water and cases of rice and beans and whatever, okay? And they can see that. And so they'll case it and they'll leave a sticker or whatever. And then they'll come back later when they know your schedule and they know you're not going to be home and they know exactly where the stuff is that they want, okay? Do not make it easy. Next thing I have is camouflage your garden. So this is sightlines. This is neighbors. This is anybody from the front, right? This is possibly anybody that even walks in the back and looks around that doesn't hopefully know right away that you have a garden. A garden to some people is just somebody who likes plants and likes flowers and things like that. And if you do your garden right with tons of plants and shrubbery and flowers, and it's not so noticeable what it is. Now this is harder because like somebody like me, I've got all my stuff labeled. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, man, my stuff clearly says what it is. So some stuff, you know, you can tell what it is, but some stuff, it kind of looks like all the same, right? Especially like some of these herbs and stuff, right? So I'm like, okay, how am I going to figure out how to do this? Maybe I make a map of where everything's at and keep that. And then I kind of know for some of the herbs and stuff. Some, you know, most of it I can identify just from looking at it, but I thought about that the other day. I'm thinking I'm making this cute garden with little cute, you know, signs, but then I'm thinking like, no matter how much I try to camouflage that with flowers and shrubberies and bush, and I just try to make it look like a beautiful Japanese garden, right? That you would just, is nice to walk through and whatever. Here I'm clearly labeling the stuff that is food. So I got to rethink that, okay? So that's important though. Think about sightlines and think about aerial, okay? People will be smart. People have drones, little drones. There's kid drones, you guys, that do a lot, okay? That aren't that expensive and totally will do what they need to do, okay? So, you know, aerial views, right? Get your shade cloths or your other type of stuff that you, patio covers and things like that, pergolas, anything that kind of helps even from aerial views, what exactly is going on back there? What exactly do you have? What have you sheltered from aerial view? You know, is all, and this goes further, is your wood pile, you know, everybody can see that you have a ton of wood back there. If they had a drone and it went over, can they see where your gas is? Can they see where different things are that are outside that you've made sure neighbors can't see? But if somebody had a drone, they clearly could see where this stuff's at. So that's what I mean by get creative, right? But get creative with camouflaging your garden as much as you can. And you figure out how you can do that and not label stuff and know where stuff's at without, you know, letting the whole world know that you have food. Being creative how you do it to where it doesn't just, you know, it's rows and rows of food and they clearly see, oh, this is a plot of food, okay? Next thing I have and last thing I have is really like a future thing, but future showing of food. So as we roll forward, things are going to get tough. Okay. Tough for families, tough for you to watch and see, especially if you have prepared and you have some things, and you're going to want to be careful as we move forward. And you're going to have to just use your own judgment on this, is when do you start pulling back with what you're letting people see, right? Meaning, you know, barbecuing. Maybe you barbecue all the time, but then as things get rough, if you're still barbecuing every day and the neighbors are like, wow, they're still barbecuing, they still got meat to be barbecuing as often as they do, think about that. Think about your kids. You're letting them play around in the neighborhood and they got big ice cream cones and everybody can see they got big ice cream cones, like they're living the life still. Taking your lunch to work, a big old lunch, and everybody can see, wow, Fred is still showing up with a big old lunch, leftovers, good food, like, wow, they're eating, right? So things to think about, you know, going to work with a big old lunch. What other example? The garage. I've talked about the garage, you know, a lot. With what people can see in your garage and what you're allowing them to see in that garage, you know. If the garage is where your heavy duty, you know, shelving is, and that's the only place you have for storage, and that's what you have to do, you need to get some drop cloths, babe. You got to get something that you can drop in front of that, so that when the garage opens, people can't just see, you know, all this stuff. Yeah, maybe they see some drop cloths, and yeah, maybe they're like, what's behind that? But who knows what's behind it? It could be your whole, just your work area, and you just have it separated off like a little room or whatever, for doing your little projects, wood projects or whatever. Okay. So just think it through, think about what it's going to look like, because this could be slow or this could be pretty quick to where, because let me tell you, if it's hardcore, if it's not like a slow progressing where like kind of everybody understands what's happening and it's getting worse and worse, if it goes too fast, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be hurting right away, like hurting. Okay. There's people with no food in their house. I mean, no food. They eat out all the time. And you have successful people that do that. Okay. You have people, executives and CEOs and people like that they're just too busy. All they do in life is work. And they go out to restaurants, they get food ordered. They don't have time to stack and stockpile to even keep a fridge full of some basics. And so you have those types. You have elderly who can't really get out and shop a lot. You have younger people, college students that just don't really know anything about keeping food, and they're just really bad about keeping food like that, right? They haven't really started adulting yet. You just have a lot of people. And then you have the millions and millions that live on paycheck to paycheck. So they have food, they buy food with that paycheck, but then the next paycheck comes and there's no food, right? Or if we're down to 25%, or we're down to like hardly anything, everybody's going to be fighting for that. So that's going to get cleaned out all the time. It's going to be cleaned out. Even if we can maintain some sort of percentage of food at the grocery stores, okay? Stores are going to be combined, and it's not going to be good. Okay. And so think it through, the future and how you will move forward, and don't make silly mistakes like letting everybody see that you guys, you know, are eating great still. Like nobody needs to know that. All right. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's helpful. I know I've talked about this topic a couple times during the tenure of this channel. I've discussed it. I think this is a very, very important. This is almost number 2 important thing to do outside of prepping as a whole, right? So you want to prepare, do all the things, get all the things, but this is like number 2. If you don't do this and you don't do this stuff to protect yourself, it's kind of for nothing, because if you don't put things in place to protect all the stuff and all the hard work you've done, it can be taken in a heartbeat. And then where are you at with that, right? You have to be able to protect yourself. And there's so much more that we could talk about as far as like defensive tools and, you know, different things that you can use, and tactics you can use to be able to protect yourself, both when you're not home and home. So, I'm excited to see the comments, to see what you guys come up with, things that you're doing to protect your stuff, things you're doing to fortify your home or get ready or just prepare for, you know, basic intruders, basic people possibly wanting to. And this could be as simple as somebody just walking up to your door. They've seen something that made them think you have something, and they just come up to your door and start asking you for help, right? Begging you. A mother comes to your door begging you, I have 5 mouths to feed, please, anything, right? I saw you at the grocery store. I saw you bought food, please, just anything. Just I'll take a bowl of rice. We'll share it. You may have people that if you allow people to see pieces of you, see things that you have, you will have people who will just, it's like people who win the lottery. People know, and then they gravitate towards that person for money, for help, right? It's the same thing. If you let people see that stuff, they're going to gravitate towards you and be asking you, okay, please, 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 please help me. I don't want a lot. I don't need a lot. Please just Can I get a cup of beans? Can I get a cup of rice, right? Do you have baby formula? Whatever it is, okay? Do not put it past. This might not look like people breaking in your house. This might just look like people begging you for help if they think that you can help them, okay? And how do you deter those people that are in your face asking you for help? Yeah, you can ignore the door all day long, but eventually, you know what I'm saying? You are, you know, you're going to engage in some form or fashion. Okay. So figuring out now what that looks like, how you're going to do that. What are your answers going to be? How do you console that person? And how do you go from there? Okay. When tragedy happens, people do help other people. People are kind and you want to help people. But we're about to go into, and I think at first there will be people that like, okay, we can help each other, right? That's the human thing to do. But we're going to get to a point where you have people who know how bad it's going to get, that you can't do that, because that person will continue to come back and continue to come back, continue to come back, and possibly get bolder and possibly get more desperate and willing to do something more. Instead of just asking you for it, they're like, you know what, today I'm going to go in there and I'm going to take it. I'm going to try to take it. Notice I said try, but you know, it's going to be rough. Okay. So I will see you guys on tomorrow's video. I have to get ready for my video for the other channel. Check that out later today. I'm going to be going over medicinal pollinators that I am planting in my garden, right? Stuff that I'm planting that's medicinal plants, but also great for getting those pollinators in the garden, working for you. Okay. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.